An all-civilian crew rocketed into space Wednesday atop a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket on the first privately funded, non-government trip to orbit, a historic 3-day mission to raise $200 million for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Inspiration4 is go for launch, Isaacman radioed flight controllers moments before liftoff. Punch it, SpaceX. And they punched it. At 8:02 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, the Falcon 9's first stage engines ignited, lighting up the early evening sky as the booster thundered away from Pad 39A at the Kennedy Space Center atop 1.7 million pounds of thrust. Meanwhile, the first stage flipped around and flew back to a precise landing on an offshore drone ship, marking SpaceX's 92nd successful booster recovery and 69th at sea. The second stage and the Crew Dragon capsule were safely in the planned preliminary orbit 9.5 minutes after launch. Circulating the orbit at an altitude of 357 miles, 100 miles above the International Space Station, required 2 rocket launches. "We gave you a great ride to orbit," Bill Gerstenmaier, NASA's former chief of space operations and now a senior SpaceX manager, radioed the crew after spacecraft separation. "Enjoy your time on orbit, and we look forward to you flying again with SpaceX." Isaacman said the flight marked an inspiring, first step toward opening up the high frontier to civilian use. "We set out from the start to deliver a very inspiring message, certainly what can be done up in space and the possibilities there, but also what we can accomplish here on Earth," he said. "Space sickness is one of the interesting things that this mission is going to explore, just like all the NASA missions that have gone before," said Todd Erickson, a former Air Force test pilot who is helping manage the Inspiration4 mission for Isaacman. "Each person reacts differently," he said. "Fighter pilots get as sick as non-fighter pilots and vice versa. The medical team at SpaceX has a lot of experience in this area. They've got a regimen in place to minimize that and then treat it if it actually gets severe."